you all, and welcome to the culmination of an era of excellence. We are here this afternoon to celebrate the contribution of a stalwart educator who has made an indelible mark on this school here, Ravensworth. I am Javon Keys, one of your masters of ceremony for this afternoon's proceedings.
Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sinia Smith, Head Girl 2015-2016, and it's an honor to be here today.
Oh, being that she's doing titles, well, I am actually Head Boy 2016-2017. So,
guest of honor, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson.
And indeed, she is an honorable guest, don't you agree?
I agree, definitely.
Right, so guest speaker, Captain Kassan Troop, the Custos Rosalorum of the parish of St. Catherine and his wife, the Reverend the Honorable Jago Mackenzie and Mrs. Mackenzie, his work, the Mayor, Mr. Norman Scott, who I'm...
Member of Parliament, Miss Denise Daly. Vice Chairman of the Board of Management, Miss Lisa Grant. Education Officer, Mr. Barrington Richardson.
Past Board Chairman, the Honorable Justice Lindsay Wolf and Mrs. Wolf. The Very Reverend Canon Colin Reed and Mrs. Reed. Mrs. Ina Barkley, Director of Anglican Schools. Mrs. Georgia Wall Richards, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association.
President of the Past Students Association, Mr. Carl Townsend. President of the Parents Teacher Association, Mr. Prince Bailey. Principals, past teachers, past students, welcome.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it is an exceptional feeling of being here to celebrate this exceptional woman, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. I can remember my first impression of her when I came all the way back in 2010. 2010, and she stood right in this very position. We were leaving the auditorium, and many students always remembered her for this phrase. Hi, hello, it's time for class, let's go. But what I admired about Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson is that though she still is an extremely serious woman, she was also someone who related exceptionally with the students and with every single person. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out and sharing in this exceptional occasion.
At this time, we will be observing a minute of silence for the passing of our past board chairman, Miss Joy Alexander.
Please stand, ladies and gentlemen. And Mrs. Joy Alexander, for those of you who are not aware, is the past chairman of the school board who passed a few weeks back. Moment of silence, please.
Give rest, O Christ, to your servant, joy with your saints. Your sorrow and pain are no more. Lay the sign of life everlasting. Amen.
No, not to be outdone any at all. I remember my first experience with Mrs. Swyer-Watson. I was in second floor, and I was in music class with Mr. Orville Manning. At that time, I mean in second floor, it's a time in our lives when we try so hard to find ourselves. And there were two particular guys
And I can tell you that over the years, many students can relate experiences similar to that. I'm sure that throughout this ceremony, when other persons give their experiences and what they remember of Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, you will see the sort of personality that she has. She has a warm personality that you're drawn to and you just want to know, really.
At this point, I will call on Mrs. Colette Price with the welcome. Please help us welcome her. I'm sorry, I guess we're jumping ahead.
Wow, we seem to have missed one of the most important parts of the program, haven't we? Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. We invite to the very Reverend Colin Reed to open in prayer.
There's no hymn but we'll sing. First verse only of Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. We are all singing. Praise my soul, the King of Heaven. To His midnight renewed praise. Ransom He restored forgiven. Who like His friend should sing. Praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, everlasting King. Let us go ahead in prayer. Gracious God and Father of us all, we offer you thanksgiving for the many achievements we have made only by your strengthening and by your guidance, by your leading, the strength and the health that you have offered to us. And Lord, also by those you have placed around us to support and to keep us. We give you thanks, Lord, for the opportunity this afternoon to say thanks to one who has served community, school, the nation. We give you thanks, O Lord, that she received the baton from those who have served before, from the hand of Noel, from Keith Noel. And she has passed that baton after she has served to collect for child of Christ. This, O Lord, is an indication that we who have been called to serve for a time, offering the best we can. And then we give the opportunity to someone else to continue. As we come in this afternoon, we give you thanks, O Lord, as we celebrate the achievement of Sandra Swyer-Watson as she served this school. We give you thanks for those who supported her during her tenure as principal. And, O Lord, that as her tenure came to an end, and she stepped back and she looked. She does not sit idle by, but she continues to give guidance, that the work entrusted to your leaders in this place may continue. We give you thanks for those who have served over these 273 years. And Lord, we even give you thanks for those who will serve long after we have exited this life. As we come celebrating with Sandra, your child and servant, let all be done to your honor and to your glory. We will shower praises upon her. We'll recall those good times and great times, and even the not so good times. But Lord, we know that all time and all we achieve in time is only by your will. And so it is to you we turn to give you thanks, even as we celebrate. Bless Sandra, bless her family. Bless all of us who are gathered here. In Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Lord. At this time, we'll now invite Mrs. Colette Furtado Price, Principal of St. Jago High School. Make her feel welcome, please.
Masters of Ceremony, Guest of Honor, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, Captain Cassandra, Guest Speaker, Reverend the Honorable Jeffrey Mackenzie and Mrs. Mackenzie, Custos of St. Catherine, His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Norman Scott, Ms. Lisa Grant, Vice Chairman, Board of Management, Mr. Barrington Richardson, Acting Senior Education Officer, Region 6, Mr. Keith Noel and Mrs. Noel, Past Principal, Very Reverend Canon Colin Reed and Mrs. Reed, Senior Canon and Rector of the Cathedral, Mrs. Ina Barkley, Director Anglican Schools, Mrs. Georgia War Richards, President Jamaica Teachers Association, Mr. Prince Bailey, President Parent Teachers Association, principals who are here this afternoon, past teachers, past students, my colleagues and students who are here, good afternoon. It is with a sense of duty, but more so for me this afternoon, one of pride, esteemed pride, to stand here to welcome you to Ravensworth, the home of St. Jago High School. We, the family of St. Jago High School, are delighted but humbled by its many achievements since the powerful merger between Beckford and Smith and the Cathedral High School for Girls. Ravensworth pride since 744. And rightly so, because St. Jago has distinguished itself as one of the leading co-educational institutions in Jamaica, boasting the following achievements: 4-time School Challenge Quiz champions, one of the top feeder schools for one of the top 5 feeder schools for the University of the West Indies, one of 2 educational schools in Jamaica who has held the Boys Championship and Girls Championship titles, twice for boys and 4 times for girls. Recipient of the JCDC Marcus Garvey Award for Excellence in the Performing Arts on numerous occasions. Every Olympic team for the last 34 years has had members who are St. Jago past students, and they have medaled. St. Jago High School is home. National hero, Right Honorable Norman Manley. It is home of retired Chief Justice Leslie Wolf, home of members of Parliament Natalie Nita Headley, Andrew Wheatley, and Honorable Mike Henry. Home of Trevor Rowe, Archibald Gordon, Claire Clark Grant, and entertainer Christopher Martin. Home of the 1983 Rhodes Scholar, Mr. Hanif Lachman. And, thanks Sandra, home of the 2017 Rhodes Scholar, Mr. Shakib Acosta. Home to Mr. Javon Keys, our chairpersons this afternoon. 2017 recipient of the Governor General's Youth Award for Excellence. 2017 Company of the Year, Junior Achievement Company of Entrepreneurs. San Jago High School is the home for the 2017 Boys Digicel Grand Prix Champions. This is the home where the academics thrive. 96% overall pass rate for Cape, a 2% increase over the 2016 period. At Unit 1, 15 of 24 subjects offered earned 100% passes. At Unit 2, of 22 subjects offered earned 100% passes. The overall pass rate for CSEC continues to be consistent at 89%, with 15 of 29 subjects offered having a pass rate of 100%. This is the home of the 2018 PCJ National Chess Champions for the 4th consecutive year. 2017 JCDC awardees for top speech category in St. Catherine, top zone winner Spanish Town, top high school in St. Catherine. 2017 All-Ireland Volleyball Male Champions. 2017 Zone Champions Girls Football, boasting the leading goal scorer in the entire competition. Overall winners, I say it with pride, of the 2017 Easter Grace Boys and Girls Championships, placing 4th and 3rd respectively. And our progress in athletics was exhibited at the 2017 Senior Trials, where 15 past student athletes participated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on and on and on. That's just a snapshot of the wonderful things, the wonderful legacy that I am now the steward of at St. Jago High School. And finally, St. Jago High School, located here at Ravensworth, is the home of past student and first female principal, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. And for me, she is the gem of St. Jago High School, the epitome of the spirit of St. Jago High School. Her passion for this school is incomparable and worth emulating. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon to celebrate her outstanding journey here. Thank you, Mrs. Watson, for being an exemplary leader.
Thank you, Mrs. Price. The epitome of the spirit of Ravensworth. A woman who, when you interact with her and when she speaks of St. Jago High School, for those who don't know about St. Jago, you want to know about St. Jago. For those who didn't come to St. Jago, I know probably some of you might disagree with me, but I still say you wish that you would have come to St. Jago High School. A lady that speaks of the excellence and has contributed to the excellence and greatness that this institution is now living on. Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. Give her one more round of applause. the presence of Miss Denise Daly. She's the Member of Parliament for the community within which our school is located. I would also like to give some apologies on behalf of some persons who unfortunately hit Dr. Austin Wright, principal of the Marti Technical High School, David E. St. Pass student, Mrs. Ferlin Edwards, Mr. Kenneth Burton, and Mr. Philip Keendawes, as well as Canon and Mrs. George Thompson, Mrs. Daphne Inararity, past student, Mrs. Ina Bartley, Director of Anglican Schools, and Miss Keisha Lewis. We'd also like to welcome His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Norman Scott. Thank you, Mr. Scott, for sharing with us in this special occasion. At this time also, we'd like to welcome Mr. Barrington Richardson, who will be representing Mrs. Eileen Walston, Director of Region 6 in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And he'll be followed by a tribute from the teachers. Mr. Richardson.
Masters of Ceremony, very Reverend Reed and other members of the clergy, Costas Wotolorium and his wife, Mrs. Mackenzie, other members of the Political Directorate, representatives of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and the Education Fraternity, members of the school board, members of the St. Jago High School, Madam Principal Price, and members of our staff of all categories, members of the PTA, Past Student Association, friends and well-wishers, good afternoon. Today I am delighted to be representing the Ministry of Education, in particular Region 6, as we take time out to express thanks for the quality and dedicated service given by Mrs. Watson. I'm looking at you, madam, and I'm still saying, you are still here or you have retired? Would you stand for the audience and let us once again applaud you? Years of yeoman service to education cannot go unnoticed. There's a thought that says, wanting to say thanks and never say it is like receiving a gift and never open it. And I want to applaud St. Jago High School under the leadership of Mrs. Price for taking this time not just to remember, but in this fashion to say thanks for the quality service rendered by a stalwart educator representing our country, Jamaica. She deserves another round of applause. In reflection, we want to describe and to honor and to say thanks to Mrs. Watson for, yes, dedicated service, but the manner in which you conducted the service of education in this region in a way that earned the respect of all stakeholders, especially the staff at the regional office. We want to say thanks for the manner in which you implemented and in your own way monitored and caused the growth of this institution, the policies and directives of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Indeed, we recognize that as you served, you were one of those principals that we consider to be intrinsically motivated. You didn't have to have all the required resources, but you did what you did because you have a passion and a love for God's children and the service of this country. And so on behalf of the Regional Director, Mrs. Elaine Ralston, and all the members of staff at the Regional Office, we want to say God's blessings as you have given, so we decree it will be given back to you in good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and may the many blessings run over. God bless you. Enjoy retirement.
At this time, our teachers will be offering an item, which should be very good. They are preparing, because as we know, anything that is associated with St. Jago is nothing but excellent. So please bear with them a little, because this promises to be really good. Clap them as they make their way.
As they come, I want to say that it is a good thing to see that we're appreciating Mrs. Watson before, she has passed. Because the thing is, we have become so accustomed to people saying a whole lot of things. You go to funerals and they say all sort of things and they say, oh, she was such an excellent, but it's good. It's an exceptional feeling. I feel good for you, Mrs. Watson, because it is good to know that persons are speaking about how they feel about this exceptional woman. At this time, an exceptional performance from our educators here at St. Jago.
Believe the whole
Ladies and gentlemen, please lend them a round of applause. I did say it would be great. Right, Mrs. Watson? There was a time when Mrs. Wright Dallin, and I was in second form, Mrs. Wright Dallin on our Girls' Day asked me to conduct an interview with Mrs. Watson. And I love to talk. And Mrs. Watson loves to talk. So it was a really enriching, moment. But there's one thing that she said, out of all that she said. And she said that as a person, as a principal, there is one thing that she values. And it is that whatever it is that she said, she must be able at any time, in any audience, be able to justify it. And as a second foremost, that meant something to me. And now I'm a second year law student, and it is something that I take with me. And as a student who will move on to the profession, you know the value that I definitely have to place on it. And so thank you, Ms. Watson, once more for the invaluable lessons that you
Everybody at Citizen who knows Mrs. Watson knows that she is indeed a talker, but I can tell you that every conversation that I have had with Mrs. Watson, I have learned something that has impacted me and that I have kept with me. Honestly, every conversation, no matter how long they are always enjoyable. Honestly.
At this moment, we have a very special guest.
A very special guest.
A very special, beautiful guest. All of us here are beautiful.
Indeed, but this afternoon is clad in pink. And she is
Mrs. Cassandra.
Captain Cassandra.
Before she comes, I must highlight that she has had a very long-standing relationship with St. Jago. She's almost, should I say almost? Am I doing you an injustice to say almost? I should say she's family.
I would say she's an honorable member of the St. Jago family.
Yes.
I would say so. Because I've been here all the way back in 2010, as I keep saying, I have seen Troop around. She was the person who worked with us in the financial literacy program, which is spearheaded by the Junior Achievement Company. So she worked with us and she ensured that I'm sure that those who were a part of it, she was a chaperone, so I'm sure that those who are part of the winning company would say that she has contributed to us being the top Junior Achievement Company in the island. Would you agree?
Definitely. And at this moment, please, once more, help us welcome this awesome, great lady, Mrs. Cassandra.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. My moderators, Very Reverend Canon Reed, and other members of the clergy, for Augustus Rotolorium and his lovely wife, Mrs. Mackenzie, who has been a stalwart in education. When I assumed my position at the ministry, I just slipped her barely. She went up just as I came in, but I benefited from her work. I supervised all the time. You prepared her for that position and she prepared me in my work. I needed that. We have other members of the political directorate here with us this afternoon. I greet you warmly. Members of the Ministry of Education, I see my fellow colleague, Mr. Richardson, and I see our financial controller who is always here, a parent, a family friend. She's always here with us. Other principals in the audience and specially invited guests, I greet you. I see my friend from TVJ. Our principal of this noble institution and vice principal, teachers and support staff, students, past students, members of the PTA, friends, well-wishers, good afternoon. It is indeed my pleasure to be here to celebrate with the St. Jago family. I would not have had currently Mrs. Swyer-Watson. When I joined the St. Jago family in 2009, I joined as a baby. And when I joined, I assumed the position of the supervisor for this institution. Mrs. Swyer-Watson would have been reporting to me at that time. And when I was introduced to this school, she welcomed me into this institution. She said, "Kassan, you could be my daughter. I am so proud of what you are about to do in St. Jago." And that was the beginning of a quality partnership with the Ministry of Education and St. Jago High School. This wonderful institution was being led by a dynamic individual who's passionate, bubbly. You know her, always alive, always moving, always welcoming, lady of class, a lady of thing. I was most happy to serve the institution. When I was called, I heard that she wanted me to be a guest speaker. And I said, whoa, I wonder why. I said to my husband, am I looking like a retirement speaker? And he said, surely not, Kassan, but that passion and that relationship that you share with Mrs. Swyer-Watson would have wanted me to speak genuinely about her stewardship at this institution. We are indeed proud of you. And your Prime Minister, I told him I was coming here, and he said to express his gratitude for your 28 years of service in education at this institution. He's indeed proud. We are aware of the St. Jago brand. Our principal just said it, made us envious, those who are not graduates. You wanted to be here, right? Yes, you wanted to be here. I feel like I missed out on something because I'm not an alumni, or alumnus rather. But I am sharing in that relationship, that special bond, by what we did together in this institution. So as I charge you, I reflected on the work of Mrs. Swyer-Watson while she led this institution. And there's nothing more to add as to what more we need to do in St. Jago because of the excellence that you are already experiencing. There is a culture of excellence in this place. There is a maintenance. There's always something happening. There's a quest, a pursuit to be better and greater. And what is so special about St. Jago is that we have teachers who stay with this institution. When we have a high turnover elsewhere, we come back to St. Jago and the teachers are here. That says something about the quality of an institution, the quality of the leadership of an institution. And I laud you, Mrs. Swyer-Watson, and I laud the persons who are here and you succeeded them. I remember when you took over from Mr. Noel, you continued the quest. You championed the cause of academics. You had a special love for sports, amen? And she never took her eyes off the arts. Mrs. Swyer-Watson understood what it meant to deliver a rounded education program in a quality school. In many of our traditional high schools, we have grammar schools. Some programs are missing. And you would have noticed the thrust of this government. We're embracing the TBET programs. We're embracing skill development. That has always been resident at St. Jago. When I led this institution with Mrs. Swyer-Watson, the program of education always reflected roundedness. When you came onto the campus and up to today, when I go to my schools in Kingston and I talk about creativity in implementation of an educational program, I reflect on St. Jago. There's a special class every year under the tree. If you're at St. Jago Heights, you can relate to that. Yes. But what was very special, colleagues, about that? The children were always controlled, always ladylike, being gentlemen. I was always stunned. Sometimes the teachers would probably leave for something, but the children were there in control. And I said to myself, it doesn't matter the type of schoolroom that we have, it's a quest for learning. She engendered a spirit of learning. Everybody wanted to do well, regardless of where they were, whether inside a classroom or outside the classroom. when she led, the school did so well. She was able to boast the school challenge with trophy. I remember seeing her taking the pictures with the students. The school led in the chess program, undoubtedly the best chess program in this country. Under her leadership, we had 2 chess masters. I was proud to be associated with St. Jago, Reverend. Mrs. Swyer-Watson, today I'm charging your colleagues, those that you have left behind, to continue to champion the quest for excellence. And in so doing, I'm pulling on all of us to take on the human factor that we so desire in building our nation. Sometimes we are so focused on the academics, we forget the people, we forget the person, we forget the human touch. And the nature of our children today, we need that touch, we need a Mrs. Swyer-Watson. We need the humor, we need the humility, we need your charisma, we need your compassion. That is what you have left with me. Within your presence, you are able to influence and elevate. And when I saw the past students during the program, I said to myself, that is what you would have wanted. You like the common touch. You like to be in the trenches. You like to lift people. And today your past students can be here celebrating with you and talking about the stories of how you touch them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what true education is all about. When you reach them to teach them. When you are touching the hearts of our children. The children sometimes will forget how quickly you did something, but they will never forget how well you did it. And she did it with charm. They will sometimes forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. That is the essence of education. That's what you did. You championed that cause. You made them feel special. That young lady recalled the story. She came to your office terrified, and you made her smile. That's what we remember of you, and that's what I want us as educators to replicate in the system. So when we think of charisma, ladies and gentlemen, we're thinking of that ability to influence others. Now that's what you do as a leader. And the fact that St. Jago grew under her leadership, the fact that we had numerous excellence in the sports, everywhere, locally and abroad. The fact that you had excellence in the arts, you never forget that. It is about your ability to influence. So as you take onto yourselves and you pay tribute to what she has done, I want you to try to emulate the characteristic of that personal attribute of charisma. It is said, ladies and gentlemen, that leadership is, you're born with it or you can be taught. But I believe it is both. You have some persons who are born with some special skill set, and you have some persons who learn it. Now if you're in this room and you have it by birth, I ask that you replicate it in respect to the work of Mrs. Swyer-Watson. And if you don't have it, I ask that you learn it. The capacity to learn is a gift from God, and I want you to champion that gift. The willingness to learn is a choice, and I'm pressing upon you this afternoon to choose to replicate the excellence that she has left behind. As we look at her journey, she reminds us of compassion. Mrs. Swyer-Watson's tenure was remembered with her augmenting the welfare program. I remember when I came as the officer, Mrs. Stroop, I have some children here. They're not reading and writing to the St. Jago standard. And I've been pressured to get rid of them because they are not the St. Jago quality. And all of us can relate to that. When you're trying to build a good school, it is easier to get rid of the persons who don't fit in than to work to transform them and to impact them. And she said to me, we're going to establish the VIP program. Now when you hear VIP, you talk about very important people. And she branded those students as very important to the program of education at St. Jago. And she ensured that the resources were provided for the children to learn. So those who gave up themselves in the arts and in the sports, they were not left behind. In some of our schools today, when the programs are over, what happened to those children? Mrs. Mackenzie, you can relate to them. I have to deal with them daily at the ministry. I have to come and find a school for them. The school is no longer interested in them. But not St. Jago. Mrs. Swyer-Watson established the welfare program. She augmented those services. She established scholarships. I remember coming here and pinning badges on children. They were recognized for their academic excellence and every area of excellence in the school. This This is the kind of stalwart we have. Mrs. Swyer-Watson, we are going to model your compassion. You share in the joys and sorrows of your children. You said to me, Mrs. Troop, don't wear St. Jago, they are not rich. They come from Point Hill. They have nothing much to give, but I need to elevate them. I need to make sure that beyond the walls of St. Jago, they can excel. And you did that. I hear you and your student talking about your experience being a lawyer. That's evidence. Evidence of the work. I'm imploring all of us to be humble. When I walked in as only 29 years old, and I was introduced to this school as the education officer, and Mrs. Swyer-Watson was there with gray hair. She welcomed me, and she said, Mrs. Troop, I heard about you. I hear you're bright, and I want to use up some of your brain. So welcome to St. Jago. And we worked together, we wrote the SIP together. We had staff development seminars, and we talked to the teachers, and we sat together. And she came up with this phrase, magnanimous in victory and gracious in defeat. It was Mr. Noel's phrase. But she wanted it to be a part of the SIP. She said, Mrs. Troop, don't leave that out. Because St. Jago is famous for winning. But since I've assumed duties, the children are like lose. So I have to teach them also to be gracious in defeat. And she wanted to champion that as well. And we made sure that it became a part of the core values in the SIP. And then we implemented the school improvement plan, and we experienced success. Those students with the VIP program, they excelled. Those students who are needy, they excelled. Those students who are bright, they excelled. And it led to St. Jago having the highest preference rate index in this country. Now I don't even know what that means in education. When children select their preference school for GSAT, when we ran the data in the ministry, the school that everybody or most persons wanted to go island-wide was St. Jago High School. Highest preference rate under Mrs. Swyer-Watson's leadership. That was a tremendous reward for all of us because we were working together and we heard that we were like, we're ready to go again, what next? And of course she led her team and the school wanted infrastructural improvement and there was. The bus was needed, and you worked with and led the procurement efforts and got 2 buses. That's the kind of resourcefulness of the team, right? So this is the lady that we're talking about, the humility. In her presence, everybody is elevated. In her presence, persons feel empowered. And that is what motivated the children to deliver and to make her feel proud and to make sure the brand of excellence was maintained in St. Jago. I'm going to ask all of us, try and replicate the charisma, try and replicate the compassion, try and replicate the humility, and do so also knowing that you need grit. You need to be able to persevere. The times are changing. The persons who Mrs. Swyer-Watson led, they're gone. It's a different experience, Mrs. Furtado Price. But you need to persevere, right? It is said that those who have the imperative demand for the best in their nature, and those who will accept nothing less of it, those are the persons who set the banners for success and the standards for others to follow. I charge you, in reflection on the work, as a commitment to maintaining the legacy, that you persevere, even when the resources are short, even when the ministry's focus is changing, even when the behavior pattern of our children is changing. I am charging you as a stalwart leader to continue in pursuit, maintaining the ideals of this institution. You must persevere. Ladies and gentlemen, that lovely lady over there in yellow, it wouldn't be anything otherwise, you know. She had to wear that color. Everywhere you go, I worked with the ISA group, and you would see Sandra in the stadium. You'd never believe that she was the principal of St. Jago. She was boiled up a chip on her shoulder. She was on the ground, working, volunteering, serving. This is the nature of the woman. And it's always St. Jago, everywhere that she goes. And I admired it. I admired it. And she said, True, come on, I need to get you involved. I need to get you involved. Come on, volunteer. It's good to volunteer. It's a Christian principle in her to serve. You have served. Quality service. I laud you. I salute you. I thank you on behalf of the ministry for the quality service, for being real, for loving your children, for having an elevating presence, for championing the cause of excellence in all areas for our children. You will never be forgotten. And though you are retiring, you're not retiring from life, you're just retiring from St. Jago. You can't retire your experiences, you must use them. But I charge you to enjoy it a little, because I went to another school recently and you were there presenting as a chairman. So she's always serving in education. So she's at another rung of the ladder. We are proud of the service, Mrs. Swyer-Watson. And though you are retiring, I ask that you slow down a little because I know you're bubbly and I know you have a lot of energy. I want you to smell the roses. I want you to enjoy a cup of pressure brewed coffee. I want you to listen to the call of the birds. I want you to just enjoy the bustle of the trees. It's not always about the hustle and bustle. We need to stop and listen. We need to take in what God has offered to us. I'm charging you to take in a little, take a break, but continue to use your experience to elevate our young principals, to help them to understand the nature of leadership at a time like this. You were my stalwart. I could always call on you when I had my cluster meetings with my principal. You were willing to share. We called them at that time successful practices. So when I invited Mrs. Swyer-Watson to come and share about the VIP program, I had traditional high schools never wanted in the slow children. And I had Mrs. Swyer-Watson with the brand of St. Jago, the wind beneath her wings, talking about helping slow children and everybody at the front. They say, all right, Mrs. True, we understand what you're saying. If Mrs. Swyer-Watson doing it, I will do it. She led that transformation for us, and we thank you. So as you slow down, continue giving. We miss you. I miss you. I'm in another region, but you're forever with me because of your elevating presence, because of how you respected the role of the education officer. Nobody in your institution could ever say you were never in partnership with the ministry. You were a church school, but you welcomed the influence of the ministry, you partnered. That is not something we get every day. So it talks about the measure of a woman, who you are, the quality in you. I salute you. I lift you up today. I honor you for your unwavering commitment to education. We are forever better for your service. So though we are saying and expressing our gratitude, we will miss you. We miss your work, your wisdom, your smile. But even though we are expressing and wishing for you a relaxing lifestyle, I want you to come back, because I will be calling upon you to come and talk to my principals. I want you to be the model that we need today in reaching our young people. The new design for education is an inclusive one. Nobody should be left behind. We're talking about multiple pathways to learning. So there's a program for everyone. You did that. You led that. The minister is behind you. You have paved the way. And I'm happy that I was able to charge your friends, your colleagues today in your honor. Continue to love. Continue to do. Continue to be. You are the champion of all champions. You are the epitome of excellence. And I love you dearly. Congratulations for the hard work. Congratulations for the success. And I will continue to partner with you as we go forward, charting the path of success and a quest for social change for this country. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, what a charge. What a charge. Exceptional words. The epitome of excellence. Wouldn't you agree, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson? After all her contribution, after all the work that she has done here at St. Jago High School, excellence is indeed something that we can say is synonymous of Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. Ladies and gentlemen, give her one more round of applause.
And thank you so much for this experience. I learned so much about you, Jessica. So much more about you. I was reminded minutes ago of an experience that I had with Mrs. Watson by two persons, Mrs. McCoy they're studying. Justine, you're doing this. Justine, you're doing that. Listen to me. Remember, I know you're a student, and you must do well. You're doing 10 subjects at once. How you know? I say, you know, and so. And she really invested in me as first a student. And that was one thing that helped me, along with all the other teachers who helped me to be a good student. What is your moment today, right? And I remember one day, it was Easter. Not sure of which year, but I was at home. And really and truly, it was a tough Easter for my family. To be very honest, my father was diagnosed with cancer and that Easter. It was just a tough Easter. And I just did not expect it. I got a call from Miss Watson, and she said, you know, where are you, Sunil? And I said, I am at home. And she said, you won't remember, don't worry. And she said, I'm on the bypass, I'm passing Salt Factory now. Come on the outside. And I went. And I went outside. This was my principal, pulling up close to my gate. And she came out and she greeted me with such a warm smile. Now this is me, a normal student. And she came and she opened the back of her vehicle and she said, I had a gun and I decided to bring it for you. No, it was such an awesome moment for me. I was an ordinary student, just doing a little bit more than other students. And she never had to. I know that Miss Watson loved to eat. She could have brought it home. She could have brought it home and she could have had it. But she thought of me as a normal student. And I tell you, Miss Watson, you didn't know, but you're knowing now. That one did a lot for me and my family. Thank you so much once more.
One of the hallmarks of Mrs. Swyer-Watson. She made the regular student feel extraordinary.
Yes.
Because I can remember even days in first form in devotion, she would just point at a particular student and randomly, come here. And she started having conversation with me. When I was in first form 1G, she stopped me now. I was there walking straight, praying that this lady don't stop me now because first form, I was so nervous. She was standing right at this edge here. I think she was inspecting the uniforms. So before I came up here, I was checking myself to ensure that everything alright. And she called out Mr. Perfect now said, Jesus is what now? And she was like, young man, you wear your uniform well. Jago name, flying high. First form, I remember that. And those were, and honestly, even representing a Students' Council president as head boy, I always get those words. Keep the St. Jago flag flying high. Represent well. Those words have stuck with me. But Mrs. Watson, as Sunil pointed out, she always ensured that you remember that you're a student, even when you as a student don't remember that you're a student. Because, like Sunil, I was all over the place. As Sunil was Students' Council president, I was vice president. When she became head girl, I became Students' Council president. When she left, I became head boy. There was a whole lot of up and down. And I can remember Mrs. Watson just say, John, come here. Exams coming up. I hope you've been studying, so I can go to her. I can remember one particular afternoon, same after Students' Council meeting, and I went here with a particular issue that the students had, came up in the meeting. And I started talking to her about it, and as soon as I finished, I said, Jamal, December exams coming up. I don't want to see you with no normal grade now because you're not just no normal student. I want to see the grades going up. I remember that because she always reminded us that your academics, no matter how much you're doing, no matter how exceptional you are, probably on the track or in Students' Council or whatever, at the end of the day, as all of our other teachers emphasize, the grades are the most important thing. But Mrs. Watson, you always find the right word to say and you always know how to make sometimes a very tough situation very light. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I really love and appreciate about Mrs. Swyer-Watson.
Please, ladies and gentlemen,
Alright, next on the program we will actually have the tributes, which I'll go through the order in just a bit, but there is an announcement. The driver of a grade 1996 Honda Civic parked by the music room, that's the container close to the gate there, please attend to your vehicle urgently. That is the driver of a gray 1996 Honda Civic parked by the music room. Please attend to your vehicle urgently. Thank you. And the plates are 1386 FP.
At this time, we will have a tribute by Miss Lisa Grant, Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees. Please make her welcome.
And as she comes, the tributes will go in this order. So after Miss Lisa Grant, we'll have Mrs. Jeanette Grandison and Miss Marjorie Stone, and these are representatives of the academic staff, and they'll be followed by a special performance by Joanna Henry. Miss Grant.
Thank you. Co-chairs, Custis and Mrs. Mackenzie, Cameron Collin and Mrs. Reed, Mayor Norman Scott, Member of Parliament Denise Daly, Regional Director for Region 6, guest speaker, other specially invited guests, Madam Principal and fellow members of the board, staff, students, family and friends of St. Jago, good afternoon. I say family and friends of St. Jago and not family and friends of Sandra Swyer-Watson deliberately, because if you are here today through any association with our honoree, then you must be one or the other, since Sandra Swyer-Watson is the embodiment of St. Jago. Destiny is not a matter of chance, but of choice. Not something to wish for, but to attain. This statement has been so clearly evidenced by Sandra Swyer-Watson's own experience, and so we gather to honor and celebrate her, and with her, this outstanding period of her destiny. I am Lisa Grant, and I bring this brief greeting on behalf of the Board of Trustees, and particularly those members past and present who served their tenure with Mrs. Swyer-Watson as principal, and who had the privilege to experience her impact on so many impressionable minds and lives. As a board, and I say it is a bittersweet time for the board, for the school family in general, and the board in particular. But as a board, we observed her caring interactions with her students and staff, knowing each of them, even if not by name, then certainly by their particular circumstance, and being sensitive to their individual needs while not treating any of them preferentially or otherwise. This, friends, is a gift, a truly remarkable gift. Sandra Swyer-Watson is an advocate and a strategic thinker, blessed with a sharp mind and keen intellect, who always has her ear to the ground. And the board learned to trust her instincts, her experience, and her sometimes perceived unorthodox approaches to navigating complex situations to ensure at all times the best outcome for St. Jago. St. Jago was always her priority, never self-serving, and often putting herself in precarious or uncomfortable situations. Mrs. Swyer-Watson displayed extraordinary leadership time and again, even within the most challenging situations. Always optimistic, she would find the most creative ways to solve problems and resolve tensions. How well recall her interactions with former chairman, Chief Justice Leslie Wood, and the many times that his apparent sternness about matters which might have rattled others simply earned a most polished "no sir" or "yes sir" response from Mrs. Swyer-Watson, followed by a sentence or two, delivered with such precise rapidity that one had no option but to acknowledge with a simple okay and move on to the next item on the agenda. More than relenting though, this was a demonstration of the degree of trust and confidence that not only the chairman but the entire board placed in her. As we could be assured that under no circumstance whatsoever would she allow St. Jago to be negatively exposed or compromised. About this, she was resolutely passionate and fully committed. As engaging as were her interactions with Justice Wolf, were two of her more subdued interactions with her most recent chair, the late Miss Joy Alexander, who succeeded Justice Wolf. From my vantage point, I believe that Miss Alexander and Mrs. Swyer-Watson simply agreed to understand each other. As quickly as Mrs. Swyer-Watson would speak, Miss Alexander would match that with the softness of her decibel level. And yet I have never experienced either asking the other to repeat what was said. Miss Alexander could hear Mrs. Swyer-Watson's pace, and Mrs. Swyer-Watson could feel the pulse of Miss Alexander's words. This was not only fascinating, but a beautiful dynamic to observe. They worked very well together and demonstrated gentleness and mutual respect. I have dutifully attended a few events that might not have necessarily carried the prestige of many others on the school's co-curricular calendar. But it didn't matter the nature of the event. For as long as St. Jago was participating, Mrs. Swyer-Watson would show up so that her young charges could be assured of her presence, her encouragement, and her support. On many days, there would be multiple events, sometimes in various geographic locations, including meetings at the Ministry of Education or at Church House. Don't ask me how she did it, but she would show up. Mrs. Swyer-Watson may arrive late, but she would always show up. I recall being at a chess championship a few years ago, and when Mrs. Swyer-Watson did not see the principal of the school against which St. Jago was vying for the championship title, she called the principal in question and insisted that he be there to support his team. Her unselfish capacity to see beyond only the concerns of St. Jago and to consider a holistic approach to youth development and recognize what children require to thrive is not easily matched. I hasten to add here that the principal in question did present himself sometime after that telephone call, and by the way, St. Jago won the championship. Perhaps that was the real reason for Mrs. Watson insisted that he attended, so that he would turn up and face the music. Friends, when I speak of Mrs. Swyer-Watson supporting her students, I'd like you to understand the magnitude of this undertaking. St. Jago High School, Jamaica's leading co-educational institution. Yes. Competes at every schoolboy and schoolgirl competition at every level and in every category. Let us process this for a moment. This means, Mr. Librarian here? Yes. This means that whereas an all-boys or all-girls school will compete in a competition with perhaps a maximum of 3 teams, that is by category for age, for example, under 12, under 14, under 18, St. Jago's participation would be double. 3 teams for boys, 3 teams for girls, that's sometimes 6 teams for any one activity. And there are at least 12 co-curricular activities in which St. Jago participates. These do not include academic, operational, and administrative priorities. Yes, friends, potentially over 70 co-curricular teams beyond her core priorities, and Sandra Swyer-Watson would show up. On a personal note, when I first came to terms with this, I renamed Mrs. Swyer-Watson. At first, she would look at me curiously and was non-responsive. But when she realized that I was not about to yield, I had garnered a following of persons who also used the name, she appeared to reluctantly accept that this is the way things were going to be. A few of you know that name. You know that name. Yes, it is greatest. I do not believe that there is anyone who at the time could have accomplished that which Mrs. Swyer-Watson managed to do. In this regard, to me, she truly is the greatest. It is not a coincidence that it is in this sphere of greatness that I choose to mention Mrs. Swyer-Watson's significant, noteworthy achievement of being the first female principal of St. Jago High School, because I strongly believe, in deference to my colleagues, that only a woman with the class of Sandra Swyer-Watson could successfully have met the challenges of that time. And so, for those who followed, or for those who went before her, that title, in all certainty, belongs solely and surely to her, her destiny. And so I close where I started, destiny. It is a mistake to look too far ahead. The chain of destiny can only be grasped one link at a time. We are blessed to have allowed ourselves to be transported through Sandra Swyer-Watson's journey. And as she grasps the next link, there can be no doubt that only more wonderful things lie ahead. God bless you, Sandra. You are so deserving of this special recognition and celebration. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Miss Grant. At this time, we'll have Miss Marjorie Stone, who will be doing a presentation on behalf of the academic staff. Hey, Ms. Stone, welcome, please.
There's a vehicle 0592 GA. It's blocking someone. So the owner of that vehicle, could you please
Masters of ceremony, or a guest of honor, or a guest speaker, all other specially invited guests, all our students and past students, good afternoon. The first female principal of St. Jago High School, the first past student to serve as principal. During her tenure, January 27th first came to be placed on the school's calendar to be celebrated as Founders Day, and noonday prayers first got off the ground. So I think it's quite fitting this afternoon that Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, our special guest, be regarded as the First Lady for this session. Her staff remembers her as an administrator who was cheerful, jovial, and sociable. Her love for people was obvious, and she was never afraid to give compliments. Her friendship extended across gender, age, and class. She could relate to anyone. She laughed and loved. She was not afraid to laugh at herself. She was not easily offended and demonstrated the skills learned as a child in a large family, and that is holding one's own in the midst of diversity. She was resourceful, knowledgeable, and vibrant. She could hold a conversation on any topic raised. Her staff also remembers her as a community genealogist, as she could connect the dots and trace the family tree of current students and past students. It seemed to us that she knew everyone and their family. She's also remembered for her classic dress and deportment. She was a lover of good food, and she kept a special book. And she would admit that she would not remember everything, but everything that she could remember was in her book. And so, she would call you on your birthday when you yourself might have forgotten. That was due to her special book. Born and nurtured in the shades of ancient Santiago, it was inevitable that Sandra Swyer would pursue her secondary education at St. Jago High, the school where greatness is born and excellence lives. Continuing the legacy of the Swyer family, she joined her older siblings at St. Jago High, and no one could have foretold the exciting, awesome journey that lay ahead. 1967 marked the beginning of that special era in the history of St. Jago High. Sandra Swyer then began her walk through school halls as a student. In 1974, having completed 7 years and successfully passing the GC ordinary and advanced levels, she moved on to tertiary level studies at the University of the West Indies, Mona, on an open scholarship. On completion of her university studies, she served first in the private sector. Then, in 1987, she returned to Ravensworth as a teacher of business subjects, economics, principles of accounts, and principles of business. She rose through the ranks to senior teacher, vice principal, active principal, and ultimately principal. I assure you, 28 years, 336 months, 1,344 weeks, 9,408 days, 564,480 hours of unswerving loyalty, faithfulness to duty, commitment to service, and excellence. When one has the 7 years spent as a student, it becomes 3.5 decades of relationship and service to St. Jago High. Though Mrs. Swyer-Watson came highly skilled, she understood, like Ralph Marston, that excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude. Hence, she cultivated daily the attitude of excellence as she took on the arduous task of being administrator of a most dynamic institution, her alma mater. And indeed, she cultivated this attitude not only in herself, but in her students and her teachers. And so, in true St. Jago spirit, she set her sights on excellence. Vince Lombardi once said, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. Mrs. Swyer-Watson's tenure was marked by this unrelenting pursuit of high standards and discipline. And everyone who knew her well understood that this also meant placing God first in everything. She was frank, no nonsense, and insisted on high standards of conduct and academic achievement. And so her tenure was marked by some stellar achievements, including winning the school's challenge quiz competition, including outstanding performances in chess, the performing arts, and sports. It was during her tenure that Jamaica's latest Rhodes Scholar, Shakiba Foster, studied at St. Jago High. And Renice Henry received the Eric Williams Award for her outstanding performance in the Caribbean, in Cape Unit 2 History and the Humanities. And in that same year, St. Jago High caught first, second, and fourth place in Jamaica in Cape Unit 2 History. Matthew Blake placed first in the Caribbean in the Humanities in CSEC. And the accelerated program really accelerated when a class of 40 students sat 10 CSEC subjects and passed them. These represent only a few of the successes. However, if we were to ask Mrs. Swyer-Watson even now to tell of her greatest successes while being principal of St. Jago High, she would regale you with stories of individuals who had been saved from potential ruin. Mrs. Swyer-Watson was a philanthropist who was passionate about youth development and did all in her powers to ensure that the youth received all the support possible. Her interest was not merely superficial, for she took a personal interest in the most vulnerable among us. She sought assistance for those needing help while at school and continued to seek assistance for them even after they had completed school and needed to pursue further studies. And there are many who will attest to her humanitarian acts. Mrs. Swyer-Watson, you are a friend in all seasons, an educator who took personal interest in your charges, an administrator with a passion for excellence, a philanthropist and a Christian. These lines of the school song paraphrase are a fitting tribute. Proudly you served, serving to enlighten darkness that hinders, ignorance that spoils. You served healthy in mind and vigorous in body as you sought the welfare of our land. Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, educator, philanthropist, and friend. We laud your accomplishments, your commitment, your loyalty, your service, your contribution to your alma mater, St. Jago High School. Your vibrant personality, your love for humanity, and your faith in God will sustain you in this new season of life. Continue to enjoy the blessings of a life well lived. You are indeed exemplary in your pursuit of excellence. Labor omnium vincit.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stone, for that tribute on behalf of the academic staff. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'll have a little entertainment for you from some members of the St. Jago High School population, Joel Henry and company. Make them welcome, please. Joel Henry and Maria Simpson will be sharing a song for us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a special good afternoon to the elegant Mrs. Swyer-Watson. Woman of courage, woman of strength, woman of faith and devotion, who may have unbridled imaginations, mother of children with spirits so strong. She is a Christian, a tower of strength. She is a woman who puts Jesus first in life, showering his love on all those she brings. Woman with losses, woman who loves, woman whose strength and courage comes from above. Whether she's a mother or a loving auntie, see Jesus' love shines through her. She is a woman, woman of courage. She is a Christian, a tower of strength. She is is a woman who puts Jesus first in life. She showers her love on all those she greets. Woman I work with, woman I know. She is a woman of courage. Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson is a woman who puts Jesus first in life, showering his love on all those she greets.
Her eyes, the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair sets perfectly after trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Oh, I know, if I compliment her, she won't believe it. If so, let the face so she can see what I see. She asks me, does she feel okay? I'll say, when I see your face, it's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. When you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. When you are, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Thank you so much. That was too amazing. That was definitely amazing. Now the tributes continue. We'll have Miss Karine James Barnett, former student, was taught by Mrs. Watson. She was also a colleague of Ms. Watson. So she has relationship to speak on. Please welcome her.
Masters of Ceremony, Guest of Honor, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, Guest Speaker, other specially invited guests, teachers, support staff, students, good afternoon. While Caesar adjusted, when he just adjusted, Mrs. Watson, persons may be asking why the purple? Why are we seeing purple? And that's because Miss Watson was a part of the #1 house at St. Jago High School. Purple color, Mrs. Watson, not all house. And I am the leader of that house thanks to Mrs. Watson. So I'm also in my purple. Okay, Mr. Noel is saying that he was a part of the Natal House too. Yes, his daughter was a member of the Natal House. We have a rich legacy. It was Nelson Mandela who said, education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. I believe that Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson is a very, and I say is because she still is, a very impactful teacher of economics and educator whose teachings in economics and about life has caused us to be proactive about making changes about the world. She taught me the essentials of economics, demand and supply, inflation, the persistent and continuous increase in all price levels. And that's how I teach my students. A graph simply depicts the concept. And when you're studying graphs, you don't just look at them. You ensure that you draw them. And you know, Miss Watson, I tried it. That's the test I got the lowest in. Because I said, well, this one, I want to prove it. And so I decided that I was going to just look at the graphs and go in and do the test. And boy, Miss Watson, it was the worst grade. So I tell my students this today, that when you're drawing your graph, when you're studying, make sure you draw the graphs. She taught us how to overcome obstacles and to be the best that we can be. She told us that when she was younger, she used to stutter. And to overcome that, she would actually talk fast, and we experienced that in our econ classes. Mrs. Watson's teachings have helped me to become a very successful teacher of economics, impacting so many lives. And these lives have had a positive impact on Jamaica and the wider world. And we speak so much of Shakiba, who was with us the other day, Mrs. Watson. Thank you so much. Mrs. Watson, your students are using this weapon of economics to effect change in economics itself, politics, business, religion, medicine. I remember Xavier coming to my class and said, Miss, I don't know no business subject. I said, you don't have to know no business subject. Just come and do the econ. And that's because we know how important this subject is. Marcus Garvey posited, a people without knowledge of their past origin and culture is like a tree without roots. Mrs. Watson treasures the past, and oftentimes would share with us as students and teachers her time spent at St. Jago High School, reminding us of the short uniforms and the hats, and her athletic ability, and of course her principal, Mr. Bell. She continues to insist on the importance of our Anglican tradition and our tradition of excellence in academics, sports, and the arts. A virtuous woman of substance. Her students saw this principal as approachable, outspoken, caring, firm in her beliefs, supportive, determined, assertive. I tend to agree with them, Mrs. Watson. She is a great communicator who was able to communicate what the school was all about. A commitment to excellence, even in defeat. Our Christian values and decorum. We were constantly reminded of this at devotions and at our meetings. She cared about the students and staff, and she still cares about us. Effective principals never give up on children and their support staff. She epitomized instructional leadership and encouraged teachers to become more effective based on evaluative data. She urged us to become attuned to new teaching techniques and evaluation strategies, and she encouraged teachers to attend seminars on this area. And those teachers who were proficient in evaluative and teaching techniques were encouraged to make presentations. She loved the students and looked out for their best interests socially and financially. Mrs. Watson helped in creating a positive school culture, establishing high expectations and adhering to a practice of respect. as a human resource administrator, she must be commended for hiring quality teachers and support staff, supporting the staff at all times, providing meaningful opportunities for growth, retaining quality staff, and effectively evaluating teacher performance. The function of education is to teach one to think intensely and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Thank you so much, Mrs. Watson. Like Maya Angelou, I believe that my teacher, my principal, my friend who always remembers my birthday, the 14th of September, that her mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, some style, and a whole heap of food. Miss Watson, you are truly St. Jago #1.
A woman who has served with compassion and passion. A woman who has made an exceptional contribution not just to St. Jago, but to education in Jamaica. I always imagine myself, or imagine the work that a principal of a school would have, especially a school like St. Jago High School that has, the dynamic is so unique with so many things happening. And Mrs. Swyer-Watson managed to keep this dynamic in such a way that it seemed so effortless. Everything as it relates to the activities that the school did, as most of the speakers have come, who have come here have highlighted the fact that St. Jago participates in every single schoolboy or schoolgirl activity that you can think of. And under the tutelage or under the guidance of Mrs. Swyer-Watson, we managed to top, I would say probably even 99% of these activities. We managed to do exceptionally well. And this speaks to the ability of Mrs. Watson to be able to guide and work with her team, her students and everyone to get the best out of them. Wouldn't you agree? And it speaks to her ability to, well, it speaks to the fact that she is able to relate to every single individual despite the differences in personality, despite the differences in views, different viewpoints, different ways of thinking, but she, at the end of the day, she managed to get the job done and get everybody to see the bigger picture, which is to ensure that St. Jago continues to be #1. At this time, I'd like to invite Mrs. Lawrence and Ms. Cohen, who will be doing a presentation on behalf of the ancillary staff. Please make them welcome.
Masters of ceremony, guest speakers, to everyone, a pleasant good afternoon. Tribute to Sandra Swyer-Watson. Sandra Swyer-Watson, a lady of many hats. How do I describe her? S, her seriousness of purpose. A, approachable, never too busy to lend an ear. N, a no-nonsense person, a disciplined person. D, devoted. Her devotion to St. Jago High School is unquestionable. R, resilient. A. Assertive. These words I will use for Miss Watson. Loyal to her alma mater, St. Jago High School. She makes no apology for it. I have the distinguished pleasure to serve at this school under her administration for a number of years. We then thank you for your unselfish contribution and pray that God will continue to bless you, strengthen you, and keep you as you enjoy this period of your well-earned retirement. Thank you, Mrs. Watson. On behalf of the kitchen, yes, the kitchen staff, they would like to give you this token of appreciation to you, and they want to say thank you for your years of service to St. Jago High School. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lawrence and Ms. Cole. Now we'll have another piece of entertainment from the St. Jago High School Drama Club, who will be doing a speech item entitled The Love Letter by Louise Bennett. Make them welcome. While they come, we'll have, after the love letter, Mr. Floyd Morgan, who is a community representative on the school board. And they will also be, after Mr. Morgan, we'll have the Students' Council making their presentation.
Darling love,
Good afternoon, respected principal, St. Jago High School teachers and students, and all those who are here. It is great to see so many persons here to honor our past principal. Even though we are of different ages and having varying jobs and interests, it is certain that we all have one thing in common: our admiration of a woman who never quits until the job is done. That lady, of course, is Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. I am highly honored to deliver this tribute. We are all here to bid farewell to an exceptional principal and a mentor who retired from active service. Today, I realize how time flies. It gives me great pleasure to say that we must recognize, respect, and appreciate all the valuable skills and knowledge she has imparted on us, the future leaders, and to thank her for all her effort and hard work. We all need to express our sincerest gratitude to her for all her invaluable contribution to the educational growth and development of St. Jago High School. There is no doubt that she is an achiever who is open-minded, generous, responsible, and was a highly respected principal. Based on her stalwart stewardship as a principal, she has been a recipient of several awards, both locally and internationally, for her hard work and service to humanity. During her reign as principal, the school has won several medals and championship trophies, most of which are displayed in the principal's office. All these achievements and awards brought nothing but fame to the school, both home and abroad. Indeed, we are proud of your many achievements which have inspired us to think big. I also want to thank you, Mrs. Watson, for the great relationship that you have had with the community. Our community salutes you and wish happiness in your future endeavors. You have worked tirelessly. Now it is time to enjoy all that you have labored for over these years. As you join the noble seniors of this great country, I pray for your good health and many good memories. You find life after retirement a happy one with lots of beautiful memories. On behalf of the community, I wish you good luck and best for the rest of your life as you bow out of the profession you have known how to do best. I want you all to stand and join with me in giving Mrs. Watson a round of applause and a big thanks. Thank you, may God bless and keep you and shine His richest blessing on you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. At this point, please welcome Ms. Chanel Wooden. She will be making a tribute on behalf of the academic staff, administrative staff.
Special guests or honoree, ladies and gentlemen, students, teachers, good afternoon. Mrs. Watson entire school, we'll be missing a great principal like you, and no one can take the place you have in our hearts. Glad that you have retired, but that you get to spend quality time with your family and friends. May this school continue to shine with its success and glories. We are honored to greet you on your retirement. You were a forthright and respectable principal of this school. In appreciation of 28 years of your devotional services to this school, we will be forever grateful. Your creativity, insights, and ideas are some of the contributing factors behind the success of this institution. We, the members of the administrative staff, would like to bid you goodbye. You have not only been a principal, but also a mother figure, a fashionist, a foodie extraordinaire, a lover and supporter of the co-curricular activities of this school. We thank you for your support, love, and inspiration. We wish you lots of fun and blessings for your future life. We will all miss you. Have a great life ahead.
Master of Ceremonies, distinguished lady of the moment, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, Madam Principal, and all distinguished invited guests, good afternoon. I've met Mrs. Watson 7 years ago when my son was successful in the GSAT program. And it has been a pleasure to work with you during those 7 years. You are a caring person, and I will not speak of you in the past, but you are still here with us. You are always caring, you are a motivator, and you always motivate the youngsters, and you always motivate the parents to get involved. And I guess that's one of the main reasons why I stand in this position this afternoon, representing the PTA executive and the parent body. You are also a very inspiring lady. You inspire your staff, you inspire your students, and it's always a joy when you come to a prize-giving ceremony and Mrs. Watson would read out all the great achievements. And as a parent, I always feel proud, and I still feel proud when I listen to the success of these students. And I'm happy to declare that because of your great influence and inspiration, my son, who passed under your stewardship, is now on his final year in university. Thanks to you, Mrs. Watson, and to all the staff who make all these success possible. But this evening, the moment is for you. She also has a good sense of humor, and Mrs. Watson, would spare any time to stop and listen to you, and at the end of the conversation, if you need an advice, she will give it to you. If you have any difficulty, as we always do, with any situation at school, and we go to our exec meetings and we matters, Mrs. Watson would always give us good encouragement, and if there's any difficulty, at the end, she will resolve the situation and life goes on. As you come to the end of your tenure, you have served well, and if I should take a quote from the scriptures, it said, the steps of a good man is ordered by God, and he delights in your ways. And when the scripture speaks in that context, it refers men also, and you're a great lady. I just read an extended part of the tribute. Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson, you started on this journey many years ago, and now it is time to leave behind the dear friends you have come to know. You sought divine direction and a heart to do His will. Your work became your passion as you use your gifts and skills. You set the highest standards for yourself and others too, showing honor, pride, and dignity. They saw the best in you. A rag to riches story need not be your bottom line. The priceless things you have garnered in life often come from the divine. So don't waste one more minute wishing for the things that might have been. Rather, watch the seeds you have planted grow and feel His peace within. I pray God keep you safe and well, wherever you may turn, surrounded by your loved ones, living out the dreams you have earned. And in the quest of your heart, may you hear God softly say, my good and faithful servant, I'm so proud of you this day. Have a long life and happiness, Mrs. Swyer-Watson. At this time, I'll invite my treasurer, Mrs. Nita Cunningham, who will make presentation. It's a twofold presentation, because we allow her to leave without we giving her something special that even at home, she will remember the PTA of St. Jago. Thank you.
Now we have Mr. Shamar Munda along with Ronaldo Richards and Marie Simpson. These are representatives of the St. Jago High School Students Council body. Make them welcome, please. Masters of Ceremony and Mrs. Watson, good afternoon. Wonderful.
Admirable,
Tenacious.
sagacious,
Outstanding
and noble.
are just a few words that we would use to describe Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. Her steadfast yet flexible attitude and her humbly confident personality endeared her to the hearts of St. Jago students. Her determination to see us succeed, to see us become the most well-rounded citizens in Jamaica, has been her guiding philosophy as she served this institution with tremendous passion, grace, and diligence.
Her impact on this school has been simply amazing. The excellent stewardship she provided in ensuring that we developed as not only a major force in track and field and other sporting disciplines, but also in various academic pursuits, such as School Challenge Quiz, among others. Her conceptualization of the accelerated program aided in creating students capable of balancing our academic requirements and co-curricular activities. Matthew Blake is a testament of this very achievement, and he excelled in the very first year of the program. This undoubtedly gives St. Jago students a competitive edge and succeeded in making St. Jago students a cut above the rest.
Inclusive, as our motto says, labor omnia vincit, labor conquers all. And through your labor, we have truly been number one. Now, it is time for you to relax, Mrs. Watson, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. On behalf of the student body, myself, the student council president, Mrs. Watson, we'd like to thank you for all your years of service to this institution. We are forever grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Students' Council. We'll now invite the representative of the past Students' Association to now come and make their presentation. And this presentation will be followed by a musical item by the St. Jago High School Band.
The Very Reverend Canon Reed, members of the clergy, members of the political directorate, principals, specially invited guests, PTA, PSA, teachers, fellow Ravens, good afternoon. I'm honored to bring you greetings on behalf of the St. Jago High School Past Student Association as we bid farewell to our exceptional principal, teacher, mentor, and friend who is retiring from active service. Firstly, let me thank everyone here today for honoring this invitation to recognize the stellar years of service Mrs. Watson has rendered to St. Jago. We all know that you don't go into teaching to make a lot of money. People become teachers to make a difference to the lives of the students under their care, and to teach them that they can accomplish their goals and become whoever they want to be in this world. My fondest memory of Mrs. Watson are from my time as deputy head girl. We were constantly reminded that the school didn't have no money, which we took as a battle cry to seek sponsorship for all of our endeavors. Mrs. Watson taught us that you didn't need to have money to achieve anything. You just had to be resourceful. It gives me great pleasure to say that we must recognize, respect, and appreciate all the valuable skills and knowledge our beloved Mrs. Watson has imparted to us, and the hard work she put in to help to mold us into the leaders and our best selves. Mrs. Watson, you have put in great efforts into instilling into us kindness, tolerance, patience. You have worked tirelessly. Now it's time for you to enjoy your retirement. I pray for you good health. May you find life after retirement happy and beautiful. I also pray that the knowledge and skills we have gained from you are used well in the building of a greater country, nation, and world. In closing, Jago. As you move into your future, bright with exciting possibilities, a future with challenges to conquer, and dreams to aspire, our best wishes travel with you on your new adventure. Thank you. Mrs. Cassandra, please come. I now invite the head girl and the head boy to make their presentation to Mrs. True.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Cassandra, on behalf of the entire St. Jago family, we'd like to thank you for taking your time out to come and help us supporting the service of our wonderful principal, past principal, Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson. This is just a small token of our appreciation. Again, a big thank you.
Make her presentation to Mrs. Watson.
So now I'll ask Mrs. Swyer-Watson to join us on stage. Two presentations will be made to Mrs. Watson, and the first is from our current principal, Mrs. College Furtado Price.
Watson, awesome. And everything that was said here this afternoon is a testimony of your stellar contribution to our noble alma mater, St. Jago High School. And I want to Students Association. And you know that you're always, always, always welcome here anytime because you belong here, we belong here, and we appreciate it. So on behalf of the Board of Governors, staff, all members of staff, and the students, this really is just small. I mean, trying to fit in your shoes and everything that happens here. No one can truly pay you for the contribution you've made to this institution. But accept it because you're deserving. You're most deserving. And I know that through your work here, through the church and through the PSA, we will continue to be number one. Say Jago, Mr. Noel. It's a good feel. Thank you, Mrs. Swyer-Watson.
Thank you, Mrs. Price. We'll now invite Ms. Arlene Jones, Vice Principal, to make her presentation. Stern instruction, just hold it.
I'm not going to show her yet. Sandra, we have been colleagues and friends for a long time. And this gift is from our hearts. We commissioned a young artist, past student, to do a pencil drawing, a portrait of me. And it looked like all the little wrinkles, the little smirk on her face. And we want to say thank you for all the years that you have given to St. Jago. And we continue to give to St. Jago because we know you love St. Jago. But you and St. Jago, God is you. And I want to say to you, on your retirement now, do the things that you have not done before and would love to do them now. Go to other places that you have never been before and would love to go. You have the time now to plan for these things. So I want you to enjoy your retirement fully. Do the other things, but do enjoy. I want to present you with this token.
Big reveal, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Beautiful. And might I say that that piece of artwork was done by Mr. Richard Smith, past student of St. Jago and the son of our school secretary, Mrs. Marie Holston.
Thank
pleasure to have been able to share in this experience. The 6 years that you were principal, that while I was here and you were principal, they were exceptional years filled with many memories. Memories of you being a stalwart educator, stalwart in discipline, and a person who any individual would want to emulate. Mrs. Watson, I've always said this to many persons that someday I will be an educator. I will teach. And I can say that I will model many of the things that you have done as a principal. That speaks to the impact that you have had on my life as an educator and as a principal. You are an exceptional woman, Mrs. Watson. Thank you for being a part of all of our lives. So to make our ears merry, ladies and gentlemen, a presentation from the Jago High School Band.
co-chairs, Sunil and Jago, Costas and Mrs. Mackenzie, Karen Collin and Mrs. Reed and other members of the clergy, our Member of Parliament, as she has left, and our mayor. You know, they had to struggle to be here. I'm very happy that they came. Their schedule is so busy right now, but they said I work well with them and they will try their very best to put in even an hour. And I'm glad they stayed much more than that today. Mr. Richardson, representing the regional director, and my friend and guest speaker, Captain Troop. She's captain, you know. Yes, ma'am. Miss Captain, wear one of those big uniforms, run up and down and scale the wall and dive on and climb over. Yes, Captain Troop. The invited guests, my friends from the church, the cathedral, so many of them are here. Members from the Association of Anglican Educators, my fellow, principals from the schools in the town. I see some friends who are here with me. I came to San Jago in 1967. Veronica, Claudette, who else is there? Please stand. And then Ingrid. Ingrid, please stand. These are people I went to San Jago High School with. They know all my secrets, they know all about me, you know? Yes. They look like about 40, don't they? Yes, they look like about 40. Yes, those were very, very good times. Staff, students, and friends. And of course, teachers. Mr. Sylvia taught me physics. Yes, Mr. Bedford taught me music. I was hoping to see Mrs. Daphne Clayton. Is she here? She was trying to come. Friend of my mother. There are a couple of people who couldn't come, who are friends of my parents. And I want to welcome especially the senior Swyers. My dear cousin, George, and his beautiful wife, Juanita. To hear about Swire in Jamaica is them that. Yes, ma'am. The elder statesman and woman of the family. My children, Nicole and Martin, are born up to as John Michael. My sister, Marcy, and her husband, Douglas. And sitting right beside Douglas is my dear friend, Anthony Robinson. We go back a long, long way. So many persons here. And I want to thank you all for coming up, because the truth of the matter, I have learned so much from everyone, friend and family. I come from a rich family, you see, rich in love, rich in support. My parents were two special people. My mother, when she met my father, she was in college, trained to become a teacher. My father, you know, was a primary school dropout. He left primary school to go and earn a living in the field because his family was dysfunctional. His father was a drunken man and his mother needed support. He worked very hard, but he was the most brilliant man I've ever met. My father did some things that people find very difficult. But you know how he got acceptance into my mother's society? He was a sportsman. The world has always recognized the superiority of sports. I'm not sure how, but we know. And so he was accepted by the Bedford, and even though he was a Catholic school dropout, he was accepted by the Bedford and Smith boys because he would beat them up in football. He did cycling, he could run, everything. Cricket. And so he was welcomed into that society, and he met my mother at a PNP meeting. Met my mother at a PNP meeting. The rest is history. Well, I will tell you something else. Watching my parents and how they brought us up. meant that I was exposed to the best of academics, the artistic talents. My mother was a painter. She was an artist, as well as being brilliant. And her family was musical. She's part of the Mannings and the Knots. She's the only one who can't play nothing. She's the only one who doesn't do an instrument, but she could sing. I remember the day Mr. Bedford came to tell her it's time to come back on the choir of the children picking up. Yes. And I watched my parents and I learned a lot from them. My father was a little, he would not be ashamed to tell you. And it showed sometimes in how he spoke his grammar, but he was a very confident man. He knew what he knew. And he would say, them have too much book learning, man. Too much book learning, them don't have no common sense. He's the kind of person who wrote letters to Michael Manley and Mark Figueroa University and tell them what they should do to correct the problems of the country. He had no fear about that. And half of the time, I remember when he was proposing changing from this dollar standard gold, and why the government buying money for people who want them, they buy them with money man, a dual market system, government do business with them. And I remember when he had to convince Mark Figueroa of that and Michael Manley of that. And they did it. He was the kind of person who never sold the Governor General Bank of Jamaica. That was his good friend. Moving Kentish, those people, they accepted him because he was confident and he could do, and he played the best left back in football, the whole parish and everybody knew him. Nothing at all. My friend Ingrid, when you were in first, second form, my father took me down into school and he saw you and said, "What a beautiful dark girl. Look at her figure. You know her?" I said, "Yes, it's my friend." He said, "You must cultivate her as a beautiful girl." Yes, Ingrid. And he used to walk past our house and come to school. My father told me when I was very little, "Girlie, you are brilliant. You are bright. Don't make anybody tell you anything else. You can do anything you want to do." My father told me that. It's when those boys in the street talk to you, they tell you, say, you're pretty. Tell them, "Yes, I know." Yes, man, my father told me that. No boy could come with the argument. My father said, "Tell them, yes, I know." And depending on how they approach me, I would smile to myself and say, either "Yes, I know," or "Thank you." You know? Depending on how they bring the argument. Yes. But my father knew to make the Constitution back to front. He could quote anything he was reading, books in Latin, Covadis, anything. He read anything and he knew everything. He just never had a chance to go to the formal school because of his circumstances, but that didn't stop him. And he studied correspondence, they call it then, he did on his own. I think I told you, I said this already. My father apprenticed to your Uncle Frank, carpentry. And when we were building our house, he made all the furniture, everything in the house. He was a carpenter. He trained himself until he was an architect and a contractor. And he built the original Friendship Primary School, Mr. Powell. He built Friendship, Osborne Store Primary, and all the country building schools. He was on the Ministry of Education's most accepted list of persons who built schools. He did anything he wanted to do. And my mother was the academic, you know, very proper. I didn't learn Patois till I went to university. I never knew Patois and all those things. And it wasn't done in my house. We spoke the Queen's English, and we were taught everything proper and everything like that. My mother never raised her voice. Angry she got, the quiet she spoke. Very perfect English. But she always said, "Only salvation lasts forever. Don't care how bad things were. Only salvation lasts forever." And the people who want to find fault, confound the critics, girl. Confound the critics. My father taught me how to pray when I was very little. He was Roman Catholic. And he taught me how to pray. And he said, prayer changes everything. Prayer changes everything. You must pray about it. Any problem we had, you know. I had measles, chicken pox, German measles. I always had all kind of things. It's like every holiday I see. And I put one upon with my other 5 brothers and sisters. And he was always there with me, keep me company and say, "Just pray about it, girl." And so we prayed. And I've carried those things right throughout my life with me. You pray about everything. I've come to realize, as the Bible says, "Seek ye ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else shall be added unto you. That has been my personal mantra, and I pray about it all the time. And you know, I thank my parents for what people say I have the common touch. That was my parents. My mother and my father could talk to anybody with everything. They help us, the man who street the yard, the ground. They knew everybody, and everybody was important to them. If you think your father have a pair of shoes or a frock you don't wear too often, my father give it to him. People walking past the house begging and people don't have anything and they want money. He would go in the house and say, but the girl don't wear the shoes this long time. He give it to him. She don't wear this frock, he give it to him. And our old school books would go through them. He kept, many years ago when I was clearing up my house, I found her school, every single textbook and exercise book all of use. My father had them and he would put comments in them. I didn't know I was so bright for truth, right? But you know, I read some essays I wrote in purpose, but I said, wow, and I don't know all those words, Miss Mackenzie. Some serious things. But I learned everything from my parents. I come from a good size family. My sister Marcia is here. And we were taught, if one bring to a party, all of the party. If the little one do everything, everybody big about them get beaten because all of it guilty. We should have ensured certain things happen. Loyalty, compassion, honesty and integrity, those things were important in our house. If my father sends a shop across the road and you have a little quatty or whatever change, try to give it back, you know. Don't make it ask if you're in big trouble. Try to give it back. If he was so moved, then he would give it back to you afterwards or a part of it as a reward. Don't take nothing unless you ask for it. In fact, don't even want it was not yours, because it's not yours. Him don't dead yet, so don't start planning for the things that you have, it's not yours yet. So we were taught lots of things, directly and indirectly. One thing they never said to us, you could not be a teacher, you could not be a musician, you could not be a helper, a dressmaker, or a cook. Anything we want to be, that's all my parents said. So what is the next step, girl? My mother would say, my father would say, what you going to do now? After 5th form, after 6th form, what you want to do next? And they would support us fully with everything. I implore the parents here, dealing with your children, you must encourage and support. You must love them. I knew without a doubt my parents loved me unconditionally. Don't care what happened. I wouldn't want to go to Claudia's birthday party and father said, not carrying me. I said, well, I'm your family will be there. And then when you fret and wonder where me going, I'm going to owe you your money because me going to the party, whether you're carrying or not. And I said, girl, out of money. We come to talk to people like that. Just be yourself as a girl and go, well. So I apologized profusely and I sat down there and just waited. He's in the same room, you know. He don't talk to me about tours, I just sat there. He said, okay, then what time do you wish to go? So the party started about 4 o'clock. And I will drop you, but I'm coming back for you whatever time. 2 hours a month coming up. You understand me? But he would take us everywhere. My mother would be here. My mother was on PTA long after all of the children or grandchildren start from here. I tell her, no. I can't be the principal of the school and you're the PTA treasurer or secretary. Because you don't have nobody coming to school for about 20 years. That's how she left PTA. When in 2000, about 4, I was vice principal then. I said, no, me and you can't be on the same PTA body. It's time to make train somebody and give up, man. And she reluctantly did that. So commitment, loyalty, everything, those were my parents. I learned from the church the love of ceremony, love for God, the love for order and structure. That's the church I attend. Order and structure, everything has meaning. And I learned that, I loved it. So therefore I remember the service, 1962, that big service at Cathedral where you were playing. I was a girl then, I remember everything. I remember things, you know. I remember coming to Jago High School for the first time. I wasn't a student then, but my great brother Giovanni was. And then Marcia was, and then Janet. By the time I came here, it was just easy. Everybody knew me.
they knew about me, and I inherited all the good things they did. I couldn't really run, but I was on the track team. I couldn't really catch, but I was playing netball. You know, I couldn't really sing, but I was in the choir, and so on. Everybody assumed you could do all these things that the others did. And teachers, that's good thing my father was the kind of person that my mother was, because Miss Leslie tell me, girl, you don't brag. You know when the marks Janet got for my test last time? Janet ever got my test? That's not a mark. And anytime I feel good in maths, Miss Leslie just brought me down so that Janet getting 195 all the time. Yes, man. So those are the things that would have crushed me if I never had my parents to tell me that it's foolish, this girl, you're right. You know, our parents told us that. And that helped us along doing anything we wanted. And I came to St. Jago High School, I ran into Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell looked very simple. And of course, as you know by now, I was a chatterbox. And I remember when Mr. Richards ran out of his 3 in the corridor there. And when you run out of the class, you stand up outside the corridor and wait till the teacher invites you back in, and Mr. Bell making him rounds. Oh my goodness. Mr. Bell catch on the corner in big trouble. So of course, I pretended when he came that I was going somewhere, like to the bathroom, he said, "Young Swire, come here." I said, "I'm friend, so Bella know me." I'll name, and I know that it looked like him never here all the time. And up and walk around the corridor and said, "What do you do now? Don't do it again." And call around and tell me back to class. So I got to realize that teachers know a lot more than you think they do. When I became a teacher, I realized that too. We know a lot more. The children, we know a lot more than you think we know. Yes. And then of course, the teaching staff. When I came back to St. Jago to teach in 1987, having struggled in the private sector, I wanted a big job as manager. And I went to university. I got a court scholarship. When Mrs. Cullinan gave me that plan, there's an envelope. She said to me, "A gift certificate from your favorite school." Yes, so a certificate from courts is in that envelope. But they know I've written at courts. I am loyal because I went to university on a court scholarship. UA Open Scholarship sponsored by courts. When I left UA, I worked at courts every summer. Before that, I used to work at the library where I met Anthony. But the teachers here welcomed me. Mr. Edwards said, "Sandy, you're brilliant, you know, you're a hard worker, you know. You must just lay back and just do so. You must step forward, man. Step up, man." And Mr. Edwards encouraged me. In 1 year, he was senior teacher. Credit quite a rumpus. 1 year, senior teacher. He just pushed me up past people and I felt so bad. I was guilty. But you see, because I have lots of interest, I was doing all kind of things and then Mr. Noel came. And Mr. Noel, the St. Jago #1, the rallying cry. And Mr. Noel introduced us to management, man. We had management meeting every other week or something like that. And I saw the workings, the internal workings of the administration of a school. I learned so much from you, Mr. Noel. When I was doing my master's, I went to school up at UA. And I remember every time I bring up a new concept, I raise my hand. I said, "We do that at St. Jago. We do that at St. Jago." I mean, I didn't know that name, but that's what Mr. Noel taught us. That's what we do at St. Jago. So we did lots of things long before them, nobody we were doing it here. So we were well taught. The staff was so trained, that succession. There are so many people who could be senior teacher, vice principal, even principal, because we were trained. So Noel had a very open kind of management. If he wanted something done, he would come in and discuss it and take a vote and don't think so. Before St. Jago, not the St. Jago way, he said, "Okay." And bring it up back next month. And by the 3rd, 4th month, everybody vote with him. You know, and he would take time, wear us down. And Mr. Noel loved the children. I remember the suicide people, and the ones with home problems, end up in Santiago and drama. Between Mr. Noel and Mr. Matty saved a lot of children in this school. That's how they did it. And I got to understand the importance of knowing the children personally. And of course, he taught me something else. Needed to know. There are some things you don't need to know about the staff. particular staff or about a particular student or something. You don't need to know. Only those who need to know will know. And that is something that I've tried to do to maintain the children's privacy and their confidence and their staff members. And that endears you to them. I know things about some people and whatever, but their parents don't know. Because until it becomes dangerous for them, then it's just us. When they need intervention bigger than you, then you have to. You know, but there's so many things you learn from everybody. Miss Stone, Marjorie was up here. Marjorie used to write all my recommendations because she wrote so beautifully. When I read her, I said, no man, you wrote something better. So I would make sure I write them every time and I just put my conscience bottom, I put at the bottom, prepared by man. You know? And there's Miss Grandison, there's Karine, there's all the staff. You see the Anson staff, the kitchen staff, my dearest friends. We had a very good relationship because it was an open relationship. They come and say, Miss Watson, you do something and I don't like it. I say, yeah, what I do now? I said, okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean that. Or you could think I mean that. Or what that upset you, that don't upset me. It could be to me, so I learned that people are sensitive. I tell people I have a very broad path. What if I don't snap? Or because of my upbringing in a large family. But people are different. I learned all of that here. I learned as much from the students and the teachers and the staff and they probably learned from me. So I grew. I'm telling you, I blossomed there at Jago High School. My confidence level grew. Making a mistake wasn't a problem. Mr. Noel said, you know, this is what sometimes you lose some, you win some, you don't dwell on it. You learn from it and you move on. So I learned a lot and I grew when I was here. And that St. Jago has made me the person I am. So all these talents and things I have, and you know, I was at school and they would say I have ADHD and ADD, whatever D. And I can't stay one place too long. I can't do one thing too long. When I was in school, I sat at the third bench, see from the back into the window so I could spend all my time looking outside. And the class before you do that already, I could start move on. Hey girls, watch it. Christopher Harris passing. Watch Christopher Harris passing. Said no to the classroom, nobody ever caught me. Because there's a skill to it. And I learned it very early. You have to do the work. Mr. Richards gave my first attention at St. Jago, Reverend Richards, maths teacher. Too much work, man, all day long, get 50 songs. You have to do 50 songs. You know, so you're writing, you do 50 songs. So you do homework every day, you mark your own book, write it up nicely, do a little thing. So I did that to them and I stopped to them. And I look at the board, I can work it out. Ask the first question, and you tick it. One day the man collect the book. And no work, not in it. You understand me? So everything, every little thing, you learn something from. So I'm grateful for the opportunity for having served here. You know, I got a job. I was in a private sector job. I got tired, I didn't want it anymore. Or the plenty money, and I said, well, why am I getting money for the Mr. Matter now? Can I people are not interested? It's not right. And I decided to leave and I needed a job. My friend, I was on maternity leave with my son. And my friend called me and said, a lady at St. Andrew High School collapsed. I need a business teacher. I said, I want maternity leave. He said, so it's just for a couple of weeks. And I went and worked for 2 months and loved it from day one. I said, why did I never think of teaching? My mother was a teacher. My aunt, my sister was teaching. My brother abroad was lecturing. And everybody was teaching. Right? So when I left that job, my mother called Mr. Edwards. And the teacher for economics left them in the lurch. The same resignation came in the Thursday and I called the Friday and I was in a job on the Monday. God directed all my steps. Nothing I planned to do, God directed all my steps. Even not doing medicine, my friend Ginger told down there, I was back to do medicine, I was bright. When you're bright, you always do medicine. And he said, Mr. Edwards, Sandy, medicine? I said, yes sir, without a doubt. You know, when I find out when the 6th form results come out, no medicine on it. Because I see Ginger to crash in the gate and blood was pure and me find me squeamish bad, no medicine. So I switched from chemistry to econ. Maths, bio, maths, zoology, and instead of trying to econ. And no medicine, squeamish bad. None of those things. So every little thing that happens to you, you see a path You see, I was in a job and my friend Anthony used to go to lunch regularly. And every day he come go lunch and made hurting me. He said to me, but every day you come to work, your head is hurting you. And when you go home, you're fine. You don't want to be that job. Don't look a job. That's why I left the construction company. Because I was the accountant there, but I really never wanted to be there. I didn't even know that till he pointed out to me. Every time I come there, I feel sick. And as I've gone from there, I get better. You understand? So I thank the staff, I thank the students, the community of Rivoli for putting up with me and my vagaries. Most of all, I thank my family. I have 2 children. And after a little while, my son would call me and say, you don't live anywhere? You don't live anywhere? My daughter would say, you plan your day so tightly. There's no space for anything, so something happens and you're overwhelmed. And you're tired and you're always whatever. And then my son started telling people they called home. You know, she just passing through and she hasn't passed through yet. So he wrote me a letter one day by email in red. He said, full red. Red man. I didn't know the boy could write so good. The grammar was perfect. I said, wow. I wish I was his English teacher. The grammar was perfect. The passion. Everything in the letter. But I started doing it a little earlier. Yes. And I started planning things. It was, I said, you know, it is bad. But I am multi-talented. I don't know if talented is the right word. Jack of all trades, master of none. And everything about St. Jago interests me. Every single thing about St. Jago interests me. Everything about my students and the school and the teachers interests me. Everything. The former chairman of the board, Mrs. Marjorie Harrison, she died suddenly on Sunday, or Saturday. We heard on Sunday. I remember when she was chairman of the board here, because I came on staff just about that time. And I learned about concern for the staff. Because when she spoke about the ancient staff and what they should and should not do by the law, she was Deputy Solicitor General, you see. Certain things not supposed to happen. And she spoke about the rights and responsibilities. But she was very quiet, much like Joy, but very firm. Yes. But I'm telling you, every single soul you interact with, there's something to be learned from them. You know? So this has been a wonderful occasion. I thank everybody for not saying bad things. You know, one of the reasons why my diary was over my desk every day, I kept the school log. Not in the logbook, but in my diary. Because I don't want to see no cross out in my logbook. My diary was open for 2 reasons. To record every single thing happening in the school and to write about everything because I'll forget immediately afterwards. I don't remember anything. It has to be written down. So I write everything in my diary. That's why it was open. And when I tell you something, it has to be the truth because I won't remember it after. So if I make up a story, I will never remember afterwards, so I can't defend myself. And my mother always told us, if you say anything about anybody behind their back, you must can't say it before their face, or you can't say it. Don't even think it. So all those are the things, you know, and I do like to eat. And Mr. Noel said to me one day, I don't know why you drink. No, I told him I don't drink water. I don't drink juice, there's too much sugar. And he opened his eyes wide. Really? After all that chocolate and biscuit and cake and ice cream, I said, that's why I will drink water, compensate for the calories. You know? But it has been a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful journey. Because as I said before, all my interactions with things and people, all of them have added to the person that I am today. If I didn't come here, if I didn't work here, I would have been okay, but I would not have been so happy and fulfilled. I chose to retire because the work was getting to me, man. They introduced all kind of paperwork. I tell this lady, said, hello, when I joined principal and paperwork was about, and I used to enjoy the best part of the job is walking around the campus and talking to the children. Now if I don't sit down in the office and sign documents, I feel guilty because something wait for me to translate, you have a big X beside their name. I said, no, it's not going to work. I'm not that kind of person. Sit on one place. It's not going to work. You need somebody younger and more vibrant and better trained in the skills and requirements of the principalship now to take over. So it was time to leave. It was time to leave. But I'm not sorry that I have left that, because I don't go to every football match I feel like go, and every chess match I feel like go, and I don't want to wake up early, I don't wake up early, I can do anything I want to do. I want to stay up late all night and read my book, I do it, and etc. But thank you so much for all that you have done for me. I will never forget, and I will find lots of other areas in which I could serve. I know I'm next confession. I did start to write something, because it was not my style. But if I had written it, I'd have been done in 5 minutes. And that was the plan. But somewhere along the line, I can't find the paper. I don't know where the paper I wrote the thing on. I can't find it. So I'm up here just, thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Swyer-Watson. That was you being you. If it wasn't done that way, you would not have experienced it. A real woman.
Thank you so much.
At this time, we'll ask you to remain standing while we have the closing prayer done by the Very Reverend Canon Green.
Let us pray. Lord our God, you have enabled Sandra to give the best of herself to those whom you have entrusted to her care. As we gather together in this place to recall the many memories, the challenges also, we want, O Lord, to recommit ourselves because the challenges are great. And even as you have empowered Sandra, so we ask that you may empower those who continue in the field of education, that they may mold lives, so that when they come to the end of their journey, and they look back on the work they have done, they may have that sense of satisfaction. Lord, it is to you that we turn now and offer our thanksgiving, because you have enabled her and us to offer ourselves for the common good of all. Be with us now on our homeward journey. Protect us from all danger, keep us from all evil. Give us rest and refreshment in our sleepless night, so that on the morrow when we are awakened, we may again give the best of ourselves in our days. And God's blessing and grace be upon you. May the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit be with you this day and forevermore.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for bearing with us. Thank you for supporting us. And we're open to the reviews because we hope to be here and be of service for when Miss Jones is retiring.
And we'd also like to thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon into evening. It was indeed our pleasure serving you, and we hope that you enjoyed our company as much as we enjoyed being in yours. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out and the closing of an era with this service, culminating the retirement of Mrs. Sandra Swyer-Watson.
All the specially invited guests are asked to remain because you will
Ravenswood, the school song.